Welcome back to the ERL INDYCAR series. Race number 5, we've made it to Watkins Glen, man. And our man Prix, the rookie driver for Apex Pinnacle, he starts from pole position. Great stuff from the Frenchman to outqualify 3 former Formula E drivers, Formula E race winners as well. That being Daf Sanchez in the 72 to start off this triple header. Then Artful Catfish, the season 22 champion, driving for the Hyperdrive BBX team, who have had a minor livery refresh, and I do believe it does make the car look a lot better. And then Akari Lopez in the 10, the season 15 champion, on his return to the ERL, driving for his team, Apex Pinnacle. Matty Medvec in the 66 starts 5th from Enoch Yu and Max Bortkar. Then it's Tommy Milsos Micah and Pierre Gasly running out the top 10. The unluckiest driver in the ERL, also, he says, Linus Eriksson starts 11th from Carson Thornburg. Devin Butler, the championship leader, on 50 points. That's 20 more than Catfish in second. He's down at 13th. Prix starts 14th from 2 hard tyre runners. That's Hudson and Nevin Colby. Then it's Wet Loco of Hungary. Gabriel Labarton, Ray Shen, and Bob Marino, the third and final hard tyre starter on this race. He's down in 20th from Lam Fong and Lewis Olsen. Now, Lam Fong's going to have a new helmet for later on in this season. But, meanwhile, out in front, our man Prix, that Pinnacle team looked like a rocket ship earlier in the championship, but can they get that momentum back underway? As they head down into the final chicane, pace car's going to pull into the pits. This track, known for being quite fast and flowing, it's the ERL INDYCAR series at Watkins Glen as we go underway. Coming through turn 3 then. Everyone keeping it single file as it usually is on a race start, but the mid-pack actually splitting away quite a bit. Hudson's lost 2 seconds to Qui already. Thornburg with a track limits warning further up the pack, but it is Creel who still leads the pack. Sanchez not really needing to defend from Awful Catfish here. Fastest first sector going to Carson Thornburg, as you can see the drivers heading their way out of the finals, the penultimate sector rather. On board we go with an OQ. And the beauty of this single file start is that it means that we don't get those lap 1 crashes that happen so often in the ERL. It's a safety feature, these single file starts. But we're on to lap 3 of 17. And Catfish is, well, he's definitely putting a lot of distance between him and Akari, but Akari also putting distance between him and Matty Medvec, the other rookie in the top 5. Gasly with a track limits warning further down the order. Bob Marino's dropped to the very back of the pack. And is he behind his teammate? He is. Does that even say Maya Shank? No, I think, well, honestly, with how the timing tower is functioning, it is very hard to tell sometimes what team is which, but that says Marshank, that also says Marshank, and oh, further up, and OQ's had an incident. We've got a move there from, oh, jeez, that's the Power Motorsport man facing backwards, and oh, further down the order, we've got drivers far off the track. Qui's off, Butler's off, that's the championship leader off the track. What has happened? In the mid-pack, out of the race for an OQ, and we are under the full course cautions here in Watkins Glen. Matty Medvec also out of the race, airborne for Massey as Lewis Olsen gets past him. And Devin Butler is going out of the race for Devin. Butler's out. That's the championship leader out on lap 3. Qui's also out of this race. Big pile up down there. And we're under the yellows, and Colby and Bortkar all with penalties now. I think that one might have been just a knock and Bortkar going side by side and there just not being enough space down at the hairpin, but that doesn't really make sense because there is quite a lot of space to go 2 by 2 through the hairpin. Armand Creel leads the pack, however, from Daf Sanchez, and a trio of champions, Catfish, Akari, and Max Bortkar. And he's cut across that hairpin too, on board with Pierre Gasly, whose teammate caused that full course caution. And yeah, you can see the pack actually beginning to spread out once again. Ericsson's found himself into the points. We go on board with the AJ48 number 31 of Dominic Hudson. It's on to lap 5 of 17. And you can see, I think that's Colby going for the move on Carson. Sends it down the inside, make sure not to hit Linus Eriksson there. And he does take 10th on the road for now. We're on board with the 97. He's looking for a move, almost hits him. Off the track for Niven Colby. Saw it coming, but had to take the avoiding action. Does get warned for that. If he does it 3 more times, however, that's a penalty. And also, if you're wondering why I'm sniffling a lot today, I've got a small cold, but, you know, the grind continues as Daf Sanchez getting a corner cut warning. You don't want to get too many of those, of course. Penalties are plenty. Gasly also with one, and Tommy's gone past him, by the way, I'm pretty sure. So that's the Revolution man in front. Gabriel Lebargton with a corner cut warning. As we're seeing drivers coming into the pits, it's softs going on for Catfish, and for Akari, softs going on too. A reminder that you don't have to use 2 different tyre compounds, but multiple soft stints doesn't seem like the ideal strategy. You'd want to have at least one of your stints on the hards so you can go very long into the race, but of course, Firestone, our tyre supplier, they don't really like the idea of finishing the race on the same compound that you started on. As Creole, our man's had a corner cut warning of his own. Wonder if we're going to get another yellow flag period. I sincerely hope that we don't, but of course this single file racing is quite boring. Thornburg's not making a move, Catfish isn't doing anything either, nor is Gabriel Lebargton, the rookie driver. They are keeping it very safe. Bortkar now leads as Sanchez and Creel both coming to the pits. Lam Fong has gone off the track, defending from teammate Tommy there. In comes Pierre Gasly. And I don't know where Creel's going to re-emerge in this race. Maybe still in the top 3. He will be 3rd, behind Melsar Smiker, but in front of Linus Eriksson. Now, the idea of the overcut strategy is what it says on the tin as Catfish gets past Linus. It is to go as long as possible on your first stint to try and gain better tyres. It will come at the cost of track position, but in some races it is ideal, as here comes Creel past Melsar Smiker. Wow, that's a daring move from the pole sitter of this race. And I think this is it. Oh, what a lunge for Akari! A time penalty, of course, running into the back of, I believe, Catfish there, I think it was. If not, it was Linus Eriksson, but wow, oh wow. Tried the lunge. Probably could have worked a lot better, but this is the racing that we expected to see in the ERL. Into the pits there for Melsar Smiker at the end of lap 7. Lap 8, rather, I believe. We're on to Linus Eriksson in the 8 comes into the pits, and Sanchez, after all of this pit stop malarkey, has dropped down from a net P2 to a net P to a current P4, but it will be a net P3. And yeah, you do want to be on the hard tyres, at least for one of your stops, because Colby, Hudson, Marino, the guys who started this race on the hards, they're still out there on their hard compound tyres. If you're on the softs right now, or the mediums, I think you're on for a 2-stopper, and you don't want to be on that. Again, sorry for sniffling a lot during this. It is just me being unwell, and I can't really move the mic away from myself. As a look at this from Gabriel Lebargton, not Lebargton, yes it is, that's Micah going down the inside. Meanwhile, you can see the 2 Meyer Shank drivers watching the fight for 11th. Gabriel, the rookie driver, moving up into 11th position there. We're on to lap 9, further up front. This was the race where I unfortunately missed the call for the race win, so... Oh, wow! Lewis Olsen! Where's he found that from? As is that a puncture for Bob Marino? I hope it isn't. It isn't. He's just going slowly. But that's given Linus Eriksson a 5-second time penalty. I think Bob might have to pit will the Mexican driver in the 14 for Maya Shank. And Armand Creel, by the way, pulls 5 seconds in front. For the rookie driver, this is going to have to be a race win, otherwise it's just going to be deemed as a failure. There goes Gasly down the inside of Niven Colby to take 5th position. Max Bortcar, 5-second time penalty for the reigning champion. His championship defense going quite poorly, like Revo's in Formula E currently. 7 laps to the checkered flag. And for Bortcar, he likes tracks like this, so that's likely why he's been able to get up into 7th, but he needs to be further up front. Colby's done 10 laps, Hudson's done 10 laps, and will Marino come into the pits? I don't know if he will. If you're on those hard tyres, you are going for the one stopper, because right now you could pit onto the softs and make it to the end of this race. And they're still going further. I think Hudson might be a sleeper hit for the podium here. Race win? Probably not, but a podium does seem possible side by side for Gasly and Colby. Pierre gets back in front of the Malaysian. Bortcar follows in the slipstream. Will he go to pull down the inside? He doesn't. Tommy doesn't try and go for the move either. They're going to get attack mode going down the straight using push to pass. And for Maximilian Bortcar, that is P6 for the Dutch driver, and that could even be P5 if he can get in front, but Colby tries to get in front of him too. Looks to the inside of the chicane as Catfish comes in for a second stop. 6 to go, and it's still Creel leading. But look at this, the fight for 4th. Well, it's only the fight for 5th, actually. Gasly's been able to pull out and away from this pack. Lewis Olsen further back, a track limits warning has been handed his way. But wow, 11 laps on those hards. Are they degrading? Yes, because Colby cannot keep up with the guys in front of him anymore. Tommy's gone past him, but still, it's an amazing display from them. And I think Pierre Gasly might actually have an opportunity to take a win in INDYCAR as Wek Loco gets a 5-second time penalty for cutting across that hairpin. As you can see, the defense against Linus Eriksson there gets past Colby too. Will Linus go for the lunge of a lifetime? He won't, and he won't have to as Loco comes in. Akari's in, Colby's in for his first and seemingly only stop, and he's having to serve that 5-second time penalty here. Mediums will be going on as he now comes out of the pits. 5 laps to go, and it's Armand Creel at the front of the pack, but look at that, 25% tyre wear. 5 laps done on those softs, and that's where it is. Gotta worry for Awful Catfish right now, because he will have to do a similar stint to the end of this race if he's not to pit again. Sanchez heading through that hairpin, and Creel's into the pits and will go on some medium tyres. Gasly is heading down into the chicane. Can he take the lead here? He's had a flyer heading out of the chicane, and no, he can't. Armand Creel of France leads with 4 to go here in Watkins Glen. Lewis Olsen comes into the pits for his second stop, so he couldn't stick it out for that long. Medium's going on for him, as one board with Tommy, who's somehow up into, well, 4th now. Well, it's 5th actually, because Bortcar's got in front of the Revolution Racing driver. There's a lot of shade here, so overheating for the tyres shouldn't be too much of an issue, but still a lot of wear. Side by side, we saw for two drivers as Lam Fong drops behind Dominic Hudson, and that's outside of the points. Catfish closing in on Pierre Gasly. Bob Marino with the fastest first sector of anyone, an 18.099. Lap 14 of 17 here at the Glen. And Linus Eriksson comes in for his second stop. So we've got some darkening clouds. Is that another set of mediums going on? That is another set of yellow-walled mediums for the McLaren driver. Will have to serve that 5-second time penalty too, as the two Andretti drivers going side by side. That's Sanchez versus Bortcar. Daf Sanchez in the 72 moves in front of the 29. But he doesn't get attack mode. His teammate does have it, and Catfish has it too. Kriel is already at the hairpin. He's already past the hairpin. Meanwhile, the rest of the pack nowhere near. This is the day for Armand Kriel to show that, yes, he is one of those rookies that you have to take a good look at and know, yes, he's going to have a successful career in the ERL. Catfish, he's already had a brilliant career in the ERL with only a handful of laps to go. He moves up into second position and will now have to manage those tyres, and he comes in! Into the pits he comes with Pierre Gasly and Max Bortcar. And what tyres is that? That's mediums for Catfish. Mediums going on, softs going on rather for some of the drivers, and we've got yellow Shen's in the wall. Ray Shen in the barriers there. Front wing damage for the 33. Track's been cleared up, but he's got front wing damage now. That's half of it missing. Hopefully the AMR safety crew have cleared that one up quite quickly. And they have done it quite quickly. It was very close to the wall already. 14 seconds is the gap out front. And this is going to be quite a race to the finish for everyone not named Kriel or Sanchez. Look at that. We've got that train forming again. We're on to the penultimate lap further up front. As Gasly, look at that, from Pierre, moves up into 10th position with the almighty launch at the hairpin. Looking for our race leader, as there goes Lewis Olsen past Ray Shen. Race leader Armand Kriel. He's heading through the second sector as I speak. As you can see the drivers, that's Eriksson looking for a way past his new teammate. And for this man, Armand Kriel, he's only got 4 sectors to go now before he can call himself an ERL INDYCAR race winner in only his 5th start. Tommy, 10 laps on those hard compound tyres, 24%, but he should be able to make it to the end. It's been an almighty stint from him. This isn't even for the points, mate. How are they keeping it so strung together? We're on to the final lap as Gabriel Lebogton round the outside of Linus Eriksson. Brilliant move from the Frenchman as they head through the hairpin. That was just unbelievable. I don't think I've got a better word for that. Kriel set a fastest first sector. Tommy looking for the move on Milsos Micah. Side by side down the outside for Tommy there. They keep it side by side, but the Polish driver holding on to 5th position. Meanwhile, 21 seconds out in front. Armand Kriel has been the man of the day at the Glen. That gap may be closing ever so slightly, but this will go down in history as one of the largest, if not the single largest gap for victory in the ERL IndyCar Series. Armand Kriel takes the Glen, and a new fastest lap of 57.3. Daf Sanchez, quite a ways back, he will come home with a superb P2. Akari Lopez will make it a 1-3 for the Apex Pinnacle crew. Hudson is 4th, and the fight for 5th. Catfish with attack mode gets past Milsos Micah. It could have been a podium if he stayed out, but it also could have been a puncture if he stayed out. Tommy's down in 8th there. As you can see, look at that from the mid-pack. They're going side by side for 12th. Shen will be classified as last as Lam Fong Out of the chicane, he comes with a 16th place and a fastest lap, a 57.266. So on board with Shed to come across the line in last position. And this is the podium. Our man Creole of Frauds takes victory from two Philippine drivers, those being Daf Sanchez and Akari Lopez, our man's team owner. Then it's Dominic Hudson, Arthur Catfish, Meltos Spiker, Pierre Gasly, Tommy, Niven Colby, and Lewis Olsen, the top 10. Outside of that, you've got Wek Loco, Gabriel Lebargson, Max Sportcar, Linus Eriksson, Carson Thornburg, Lam Fong, Bob Marino, Ray Shen, the last of your finishers, with the non-finishers, all of these drivers crashing out on lap number 4. And Okyu, Matty Medvec, Okwi, and Devin Butler. So in the driver standings, while Butler leads the pack, the fight for second is unbelievably close. 3 drivers tied on 40 points. That's Creole, Lopez, and Catfish. Then it's Daf Sanchez, Carson Thornburg tied with Gabriel Lebargson. Then it's Sportcar, Ericsson, Enoch Yu, Bob Marino, Pierre Gasly, Manny Medvec, and there you find Okui. Then it's Nevin Colby tied with teammate Milsos Micah, Lewis Olsen, Dominic Hudson, Wek Loco, Ray Shen, Tommy, and Lam Fong. So in the constructors standings heading into the 6th round of the ERL INDYCAR Series, Apex Pinnacle leads the way on 80 points from Andretti Green Racing and Team Penske. Then it's Hyperdrive BBX, Chip Ganassi, Power Motorsport, AJ Foyt Enterprise, Shank Racing, Aaron McLaren SP, Sims High Speed, and Revolution Racing. Well, the championship battle is finally heating up again in the ERL INDYCAR Series, and we hope that you'll join us next time for Race 6 in Season 3.